You probably know of organizations that assist homeowners with solar installations and home repairs. But can you name any organizations that give this service free? Well, we'll discuss some of them on Talking with Henrietta, coming up next. Hi, I'm Henrietta. Welcome to the show. At a time when more and more people are losing their homes, there are homeowners who can barely afford to keep the homes that they have. So what do they do when their roof is leaking, their electric bill is sky high, and they can't go solar? Or when they have an assortment of minor repairs around their house that they can't afford to fix, that are developing into major problems? There are local organizations that homeowners can call upon for help. On this show, I'll talk with representatives from 3 of these organizations who will tell us what they do and which community residents can get their services free of charge. Seated with me on my left is Violet Saena. Violet is the Resilient Communities Program Manager at Acterra, a nonprofit organization based in Palo Alto that focuses on environmental problems. Violet provides direct outreach, training, and advocacy to increase participation in the no-cost solar energy installation and home repair services available to low-income residents. Joaquin Narvaez, who is seated to my immediate right, heads El Concilio of San Mateo County's Weatherization and Minor Home Repair Department, which provides energy upgrades and home repairs for San Mateo County residents. Joaquin manages PG&E's Energy Saving Assistance Program and San Mateo County's Peninsula Minor Home Repair Program. Kirsten Andrews-Schwind is the Communications and Outreach Manager for Peninsula Clean Energy, the official electricity provider for San Mateo County. She helps residents of San Mateo County to understand their electricity bills and to see how they are helping the environment while they save money. Well, thank you so much for being with me. It's a pleasure to have you with me. And I think it's amazing that people can get free services when they don't have the money to pay for them. So tell me how that works. How was this particular program started?
I guess I can start off by saying that there have been programs that have existed for a long time. I can name a few organizations who offer these free services: Habitat for Humanity, El Concilio San Mateo, Rebuilding Together, all these programs, and Grid Alternatives, who also offers free solar installations. Most of the programs are funded by the state, California state, through their cap and trade investment funds. So these organizations, they offer these services if the homeowner is income qualified. So
okay, now before you continue, you said cap and trade fund. What's the cap and trade fund?
The state of California have a cap and trade mechanism where companies that are polluting or are emitting emissions through their companies or through their production. So they have a system where they can trade with other companies at a cost, or if they can't trade, they have to pay for. So it's like a polluter pays principle mechanism. Maybe Kirsten can also elaborate on that.
Sure. You know, I think building on what Violet said, it's a way to help make sure that the companies that are putting pollution in the air are paying back into the community, especially in the communities that are most impacted by that.
And there's no question about which companies are the polluters.
It's monitored by groups like the Air Resources Board, and so they're already monitoring the pollution, and so they measure it and then determine how much those companies have to pay.
And so it's their penalties, the penalties that they pay, that goes into this particular fund.
It's a fee.
Yeah, it's a fee.
Any idea how much money? Because I would think it would be millions of dollars to provide the free services that these organizations.
It's up there.
Yeah, it is.
It's,
Yeah.
what did you say? I'm sorry.
It's up there in the millions.
Oh,
Yeah.
I would think.
Yeah, I think 10%. I'm not sure. I don't want to give out data, but yeah, it's about there's a certain percentage of the cap and trade fund that have to be reinvested back into disadvantaged communities.
So can you talk about maybe what companies these might be? Because I'm thinking on the one hand, rather than charging them penalties and letting them continue to pollute, why not just crack down on their polluting?
Oh, well, that's a really interesting question, and I believe the Air District actually does a little bit of both.
I would hope so.
Right, right. Yeah, but that is a very interesting question.
Yes. Were you going to say something else, Violet?
I was just going to add that, organizations like ours, El Concilio, Grid Alternatives, Habitat for Humanity, we do get funding through, state programs, but we also do a lot of grant writing, a lot of fundraising, so that we can provide services to the community.
Now, you had mentioned, Violet, and the rest of you, Kirsten and Joaquin, can follow up on it. I think Violet said that the penalties go into funding programs in communities that are underprivileged communities. You mentioned another word. You didn't say underprivileged.
Yeah, it's more of an income-based type of thing. It's not
low-income communities.
Yeah, and it's not, well, in our community, it's like you're not really low income. It's just our economy. So
the people, some people within those communities.
Yeah, they're considered. They fall into the bracket of where they're able to take advantage of these programs. So it's not so much we're focused on one community or one area. It's the whole area of our jurisdiction, with like ours is San Mateo County. But it just, the facts of the matters is there are communities that are not as the people there are not fortunate enough to make the kind of money that other folks can.
Sure. So. Now, you provide services in East Palo Alto and Bellhaven. Fair Oaks, would that be in Redwood City and maybe some of the other communities?
Yes, San Mateo, San Bruno, South San Francisco, Daly City, even towards Half Moon Bay. And for our program with the PG&E program and the county program, that's what it is, all of San Mateo County. So that San Mateo County is a really big county, which it touches San Francisco County and Santa Clara County and Santa Cruz County. So we're like, we can have guys go to Pescadero, La Honda, or Daly City, and then mostly we're around the Mid-Peninsula area.
Sure. Now, PG&E has a program. How is it that PG&E has this program? They're not considered one of the polluters, are they?
No. Well, PG&E has this program, and it's their way to give back to the community. What they do is they charge a surcharge to every PG&E customer. So if anyone were to look on their bill, there's a gas PPP surcharge and then the electrical one. And those funds, which are like, it could be depending on how much energy you use or waste, however it is looked at, it could be up to 50 cents to like $3.
So the truth of the matter is there are people who are PG&E customers that are being charged to pay for the free services that are being provided.
Yes.
And the state actually requires PG&E to do that and all the other utilities.
Exactly.
So it's a state program that mandates that the utilities, PG&E and all the other ones in California,
charge their customers
and then reinvest that in energy efficiency services.
So SoCA Ed and all the other.
So it's
and
not really coming out of PG&E's pocket. It's coming out of their customers'
So,
pockets.
and that's why the customers that are qualified should take advantage of it, because they're pretty much getting what they're paying for, you know, or not if they do not sign up, you know. But they can get these upgrades, and it's something they've already been. That's one thing that we run into is, oh, well, is this going to be on my PG&E bill, or am I going to get charged for this? And we just have to explain to them, no, you're not being charged, and check out this PPP surcharge. And that's what every ratepayer pays. And so
Okay,
that's what funds the program.
Before we talk further in terms of the process itself, let's talk about the services. So what services are we talking about that residents can qualify for?
Well, there is Habitat for Humanity. They have this revitalization program. This program offers homeowners who have been living in their homes more than 10 years and income qualified. They can offer them new roof, fences. I have a list of things they do here: new roof, fences, porch,
Floors?
floors, you know, home repairs that they cannot afford. So if they are income qualified and they own the home, then they are able to get this service through Habitat for Humanity. Then there is also Grid Alternatives free solar no-cost program. This service is offered, the whole of East Palo Alto qualifies. Certain parts of East Palo Alto, they fall under this, again, this cap and trade area. So they get the services all for free. Outside of the cap and trade area, then homeowners will have to pay $300, only $300 to get solar installed for free.
Really?
Yes.
Wow, that's very cheap.
Yeah.
But
Now, those who are income qualified, right?
yes, you have to be income qualified.
And you can pay only $300?
$300 through
That
the
is
SASH
just-
program.
Now, I would think there might be a limit to the number of people, would there be? Even though they're income qualified, who would be able to get the services? I would think the money would run out. Would
Well,
it,
as long
in
as
any
the money
particular-
is there, the funding is there, then they are able to help.
And it's continuous funding.
Yeah, so these organizations are continuously fundraising, you know, grant writing to make sure that the money doesn't run out. So they're constantly doing that part of the work as well to make sure that they will be able to help a lot of families.
Sure. Now,
the
Violet
areas.
mentioned some of the programs. She mentioned Habitat for Humanity and Grid Alternatives. Are there other programs that she didn't mention?
Well, yeah, there's the CDBG funds, which are used for the minor home repairs. That's Peninsula Minor Home Repair.
And the CDG funds are the
From like the HUD, the HUD.
Department of Housing and
yeah,
Urban Development.
exactly.
Okay.
And they, so Habitat, Rebuilding Together and El Concilio help out and leverage with those houses so we can work together to provide as much as possible for homeowners throughout the county. And it is an income qualified programs. They're available for homeowners. And San Mateo County does allow renters to enroll for these minor home repairs. There is certain things that they must provide because they are renting. So, but that allows folks to get, you know, whether we provide similar things, fencing, plumbing.
Now, this is the people renting houses, not
Houses,
people renting in apartments.
not apartments, no,
Yes,
yeah.
because I would think that would take the owners of the apartments off the hook.
Oh yeah, well, so that's where a lot of those information, like if you're gonna be a renter, you'd have to provide your rental agreement, get a property owner waiver, and then that's just to get, you know, get the application going, and then.
So,
it's
but tell me
determined.
something, if somebody is renting a house and they are income qualified, it seems to me it's the person who owns the house
Exactly.
who is getting the benefits because they don't have to pay for repairs that they would normally be responsible for making.
Yeah, so that's the reason where there's not a lot of renters that do it, but the renters that do apply, they'd have to show their rental agreement and show that they're getting some kind of fair rent. You know, nothing like you know, substantial. It's a really fair rent for this area, and the work that's needed is something that the owner probably wouldn't really have to do, because say if they have a windows already there and they're single pane, they're not leaky, but they're still not energy efficient. So, but they work, they're in perfect order. But if they were able to get new windows through the program, the owner would have to agree to show the lease and the rental agreement and sign the property owner waiver. And then it's up to the county administrators, who we send the applications to, decide if they're going to allow us to do work.
And
at the
I
house.
would think the renters who qualify should have in their lease that they're there for at least a year or 2 years.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That
Definitely.
they wouldn't be put out
Yeah.
like next month.
Oh, yeah, the property
and the
owner-
owner can then bring in new tenants and raise the rent.
Exactly. No, that's definitely in the details of the
Yes.
property owner waiver. You cannot raise the rent for at least 2 to 3 years.
2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's on the
Yeah.
on the
So,
waiver for the homeowner.
to protect the renters
To protect the renters.
from exactly what you just said. So.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
so-
taking advantage of a good situation where you don't
Exactly.
have to pay for the repairs,
Yeah.
but you still reap the benefits in terms of the improvements to the house you own. Now, we've talked about the repairs, but we have some photos that we can show that that will demonstrate the type of work that we're talking about, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And so, Violet, you can talk about this photo.
Yes.
So what do we see?
So this family, currently they're receiving services from Rebuilding Together. This family approached me in November while the home was leaking. This was during the rainy season. So I went there initially. I didn't anticipate to see a leaky roof. I went there to actually do a energy audit, find ways in the home to help this family save money, because they were their monthly PG&E bill was around $300, almost $400 a month.
So on this picture,
So on this picture,
what on the left-hand
on
side?
the left-hand side, you see that area, the roof collapsed, and the roof collapsed just before Christmas.
And what part of the picture is the roof collapse?
On the left.
But what part of it on the left? It was kind of hard for me to distinguish. The black part up
Oh
there?
yes, that's
black
the roof.
part
Yeah,
at
the
the
black
top
part
is the
yes,
roof.
that's the roof that came down, and they put a tarp just to shield the home from the rain. So that whole area was just an open space.
And what we see on the right-hand
So
side
on the right-hand side
is the doorway
yes, so
and the
that's-
roof on top.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And Rebuilding Together have added 2 bedrooms to the same area where the roof
Nice.
collapsed.
Okay, and we have a second picture that we can see, and this one. This one, I think, Joaquin, is one that you can talk about. Do you see it?
Oh yes, that's a family that the owner, she had health issues because she had carpet in her bedroom, and she was advised by her doctor to get rid of the carpet.
And I think I was told this was an elderly
Elderly lady, yep.
in her 80s.
Yeah, in her 80s, and she lives in East Palo Alto, and so we were able to remove the carpet, clean it all up, and supply her with brand new flooring. So now it's a more healthier environment for her.
Completely free of charge.
Completely free of charge.
No obligation.
Nope.
Nothing.
Just the pictures. Just kidding. No,
that you could take pictures of her
but-
house.
yeah.
Yes.
No,
yes.
but yeah, there's no charge at all.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And we have another before and after that we can see. And this one.
Yes, so that's the same home, the first pictures, and you can see that space. Now they turn it into a bedroom for the kids living in the home. For this particular family, there are 15 people living in the house.
So what is it on the left-hand side that we see?
So the left-hand side, you can see the roof was still up there, and you can see the rain dripping. There is a bucket collecting water. This was in
This
November.
orange.
You see that
Yes,
gap,
the orange
right?
bucket. Yeah, so everything was wet when I visited that first day, and you can see also that wood that was holding the roof up. And now it's completely
And on the
they've added
right-hand
in.
side, what do
Now,
we see?
so the same space, now they have a new bedroom there.
Now, you
for
said there
the-
were 15 people. How big
15
is the house?
people. The house was it's a 3-bedroom house. When I first visited, there were people living in the, because of our housing situation these days, a lot of people are living in one home, and so
That's a
Yeah.
lot.
even
15
with
people
the
for a
rain, yes,
3-bedroom house.
even with the rain and the wet, there were still people sleeping in that space.
Yeah.
So, and that was a situation where none of the able-bodied people could get on top of the roof and put down tarps on top of the roof, or what kind of roof was it? Tar and gravel, shingles?
They
or-
were shingles, yeah.
And what type of roof did they get?
I don't know
It's
what
not a
they-
foam roof or anything
no,
like that.
Yeah,
Like a
rebuilding
non-leaky
team.
roof,
It's
right?
a
Yeah.
yeah, it's a non-leaky roof.
Okay, I guess we've seen enough pictures for the moment. And we've been talking about income qualify. What does it take to qualify in terms of income?
Well, you can always show your taxes. It's based on how many people are in the household. And so you can show your taxes. There's also categorical ways to qualify. If a family is getting WIC in their house, they just have to show their WIC.
And WIC is
WIC is
for infants, women,
when-
infants,
and
children.
Yes, and that and SNAP, which is free lunches.
All the things that this administration is going to try and cut back on.
Exactly. Yeah, unfortunately. But yeah, so they can just show that, or if they get Social Security, or if they're on a fixed income, they just show their awards letter, and that suffice and for these programs. And then of course proof of ownership, which could be property tax or even a home insurance statement. Just that most people feel comfortable with those two things.
And how long a process is this?
I think the program
varies
that
on programs.
yeah,
It varies on the
Joaquin has mentioned the LIWEB that we both
Yeah.
work on.
The which?
The LIWEB. This is the Low Income Weatherization Program that manages by Build It Green, and so Build It Green have some contract us
the CSD,
Actera and Concilio to implement the project in the community. So for this program, which I really like this program because
great program.
families are eligible if you have one person in the home that has some sort of receiving some form of assistance, like WIC. If one person in the household is receiving WIC, they automatically qualify to apply for this program.
And this is the women, infants, and children.
Yes,
Children,
or
Oh, okay.
if the person have Medi-Cal.
Yes, because I was going to say for that family, the household that had 15 people living in it, you wouldn't say it was. I mean, the person can't say, well, I'm responsible for 15 people, but you're saying if there's one person in the household.
So that's
So how do we know among those 15 people that there isn't somebody in there who is a high income earner?
So we collect tax information
From everybody in the
from
household.
If you work, yeah. So for that particular family, it's a different process because that's with rebuilding together. So you have to be income qualified. You don't fall under. There's no categorical qualification like the one that we just mentioned. So for this particular family and other families, you have to be income qualified. So we ask, that's the obligation. So if they want this program, they have to give us their tax information, and that way we can actually see if they
So I
qualify for
would
the
think,
program.
and we'll get you to talk about Peninsula Clean Energy,
All right.
but I would think that there might be some resistance just in turning over such personal information.
Yeah, there always is.
Yeah, I would
But
think so. How
there
do you
is-
know to whom it's going,
Yes.
where it's going to be kept, how it's going to be used? Yes, I might have a leaky roof, but really, do I have to turn
very
over
true.
my income tax and the deed to my home to show that I own it? Or
Yeah, unfortunately, that's just that's the way the programs are. It's just the way, just like to back up that household falls into the income bracket, and that it's owned by that person that's applying, because you could be doing work for a homeowner that's not even living there, charging high rent. So that's where they would want to see all that verification to make sure that, you know, this is a legit house. You know, it's not someone renting it out to maybe your family member or whatnot, and they're living at a different house and they're getting upgrades to their own house. So, yeah, it's we're really good at keeping our files, you know, secret or kept away from everyone, and so that's the part of what they require us to do.
Now, when you talk about they,
The programs, I mean,
and where the information is going, where is the information going? Is it going to the state? Is it going to the county?
it depends which program it is. So, like with the LAWIP, it would go to state because
And
it's
if
a
you could keep talking about what the LIWEB is. The
The
LIWEB
LAWIP is a great program.
But
It's
what does it stand for
The Low
again?
Income
Okay.
Weatherization Program.
Okay.
Yeah. And that is a part of the CSD program, which is Community Service and Development Program. And so they do.
That's the state.
That's the state. So the LAWIP is branch. Low Income Weatherization Program is a branch off of the Community Service and Development Program, and that's a state-funded program. And so they provide similar things to like ceiling fans, solar panels,
Free
solar water
windows,
heater, windows,
Insulation, refrigerators.
You're
refrigerator.
not reading?
And the good thing about the great thing about that program is the income bracket is pretty reasonable. It's not like some programs you'd have to make for one person under 30,000, and I don't think there's many people. I'm sure there's many people, but there's not that many people in San Mateo County that's making one person making under 30,000.
You don't think so?
I mean, I'm sure there is, but like, I'm not sure that our community is getting a fair treatment if you're basing it on that amount. Because there's people that are making more than that. Most people are making are making just as much as that, or I mean more than that, but they still can't provide for their home repairs and the upgrades.
So
And
you know, it's interesting. I heard recently that you can be making $100,000
exactly it was I was
for
gonna
a family of 4
And you're
in
low
San
income.
Francisco, and you're still considered low income.
Yep.
San Mateo County.
San
as
San
well.
Mateo
County.
County.
San
too.
Mateo County.
It's the same numbers for I think for San Francisco.
Can
and
you
San Mateo.
imagine all of the low-income people who are making
Yeah.
Well, clearly these are
$100,000?
folks who are working hard and making good money anywhere else. It's just it's so expensive.
So I
Yeah.
don't think people from out of state will have any sympathy when they hear they're making $100,000
See how
and
what-
they're
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. Like 4,000 for a 2-bedroom
Oh,
and
yeah.
whatnot. You know, other folks. You know, yeah, we do live in this area. You know, our community, and that's our community. So it's hard to leave it, but it's tempting when you hear, or not tempting. It's kind of frustrating when you're hearing like people in certain areas are getting fair rent or great prices with big yards and whatnot, and making less money than
Far
average
less. Yes.
family here. So
Yes.
but so that's what the great things about the LAWIP program. It allows, and all the programs, they allow us to provide these things for families that are making great money, but not in this community, not in this area. It's so high. The economic rate for housing is astronomical at this point.
Yes,
And
it
so-
is. It's just incredible. So, Kirsten, Peninsula Clean Energy, what services? Are there services?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, we provide a service to every resident and business in San Mateo County. So again, that goes from San Francisco down to
if they're
Palo
signed
Alto.
up with Peninsula Clean Energy.
Well, just about everybody is. So everybody is
they may not
actually-
know that they are, but they
That's
are, right?
That's right. Yeah. So just about everybody has our service, which means they're automatically getting greener energy.
So let's
and
talk
saving
about
some money.
what the service is. What
Sure.
is it?
Yeah, it means that we go out and we buy cleaner energy for everyone in the county, all the residents, all the businesses. We partner with PG&E to bring it through their wires. PG&E still sends everyone a bill and reads the meter, but everyone is getting cleaner energy automatically and saving a little money automatically, and they still qualify for all of PG&E's programs that these folks are involved with automatically, and they keep their
So,
discounts automatically
For
as well.
somebody like me who's very visual, when you say we purchase clean energy,
Okay.
and I guess you don't have to be visual to try to envision.
Okay.
What does that mean, to purchase clean energy?
Okay, great. So have you ever, for example, driven to Sacramento and you pass a bunch of windmills
Yes.
on your way as you're going through the Delta? So we buy some of the electricity that's created by those windmills. Or when you're driving to Tracy and you see some windmills in the Altamont Pass, we buy some of that electricity also. So that's instead of the electricity that's created in gas-fired power plants. So for example, Martinez, they have some gas-fired power plants, and you can kind of, you can see the pollution coming out of them. Sometimes you can smell them. We're moving away from that kind of polluting electricity and more to the clean electricity that's created by sources that are natural, like wind and sun and water.
And you're using PG&E's wires to, so why can't PG&E do that?
Well, PG&E does also, but here in San Mateo County, all of the cities in the county got together and said, let's go faster. So PG&E is moving also toward more cleaner energy at the rate that the state requires them to do.
So does Peninsula Clean Energy pay PG&E to transmit this clean energy through their through their wires and networks?
Actually, because PG&E still does the billing, so everyone still gets a PG&E bill, you just pay PG&E directly for maintaining the wires, and then PG&E passes part of that off to Peninsula Clean Energy for the actual clean electricity, which is why your bill on page 1 now has 2 lines for electricity. There's a line for generation, which says Peninsula Clean Energy. That's the part that goes to us directly for the windmills and the solar panels. And the rest of the electricity line, you still pay to PG&E for maintaining the wires.
So there are 2 billing lines.
Yes.
Where one pays PG&E and one also pays Peninsula Clean Energy.
That's right. So
it seems like that's more money coming out of people's pockets.
But when you add that up, it's actually less. It's just 2 line items.
No, you're sure that's not double speak?
I'm sure.
You pay 2 line items, but you're paying less.
Because we just sent, actually PG&E just sent a postcard to everyone in the mail in San Mateo County that compares how much it costs for electricity from Peninsula Clean Energy or from PG&E. And it shows clearly there that people save a little bit of money and get cleaner energy with Peninsula Clean Energy. That's because it was started by the county and all the cities
to
provide
what does
a public
PG&E
benefit.
get out of it?
Oh, PG&E, let's see. You'd have to ask them. They're required to work with us, and we actually have a good working relationship.
So what you do, is go to people's homes, or how do you convey this information? And everybody is automatically, I mean, anybody who's
automatically has it.
enrolled or a
Yes.
customer of PG&E has access to Peninsula Clean
Yes,
Energy.
it's automatic.
It's
It's an automatic
It's
enrollment
nothing they
program.
can buy into.
Yeah, well, they can buy into even cleaner electricity if they wish.
What, through solar? Or?
Well, actually, we have 2 levels. There's the automatic level, which saves people some money and then gets people really clean energy. It's 85% greenhouse gas free, so 85% pollution free. But then you also have the option of getting 100% renewable energy, clean energy. So you can, choose that and buy into that if you wish.
How do people get 100% clean energy?
Yeah, well, you can go to our website, call the customer service number, or fill out a form on the website. It's really easy, and just request that. And it's
And are you
very
still a
affordable.
client of PG&E?
Yes, because you are a client of both PG&E and Peninsula Clean
But
Energy.
you can get
'cause we work together.
100% clean energy. So does that mean you still pay PG&E?
Yes, because PG&E is still paying you. You're still paying PG&E to maintain the wires, so they're still sending it through their wires.
Anything to add, Violet?
Well, you talk about how people, how people know about this information, and we have partnered with PCNE in the community because I'm always out there providing information, awareness programs, and I've talked to a lot of homeowners in East Palo Alto. I've come across a lot of homeowners who don't really know anything about Peninsula Clean Energy until I pointed out when I'm working with them, because our education, Actera's Green at Home program education piece is we really want to work with the homeowner to understand their usage in the home. And that means we have to, like I work with homeowner, go through the PG&E bill, help them understand the usage. And then also now I've added another information where we talk about PCE and the whole thing about their PG&E bill. So, you know, before they'll say, oh, we don't know. Some people think that it's another, like you said, are we paying extra money because there's a new line there? And then we have to explain what it all means. And they are very happy to find out that, you know, not only they're saving a little bit of money with their bill, but they, you know, knowing that their energy is now from cleaner sources.
You know, there is that saying, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Yes.
Too good to be true. And I would think you might run across a lot of skeptics.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
definitely.
For example, I got something in my cell phone that said I was entitled to a $1,000 free card. And my daughter said, no, 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 don't click on that. That's a scam. So Violet and Kirsten and Joaquin, how is it that you're giving away free services, free roofing, telling people? I would think you would run into people who just wouldn't believe that. It sounds a
lot of
little
times.
too good to
A lot
be
of
true.
Yeah, a lot of times.
And I'm thinking they might think, oh, you just want to get my income tax information, my
Yeah.
social
Scam 'em,
security
We
number.
get all
and
that all the time.
do
Yeah.
you? And do you actually have people who don't go along with it? Like, yes, I need a new roof, but I'm not.
Well, I think it all depends on the individual that's they're speaking to, that how good they can explain the programs to them, and how they can assure them that it's not a scam. With a lot of these programs, they have websites where they can research it and see that it's factual. But yeah, you always will have some folks that are, no, you know, I'm gonna get a bill, and it's, you know, even the installers, when they're there, they always ask, so how much am I gonna have to pay? And we've already shared that, you know, it's free, but they still a little bit skeptical.
I would think so. And have you had
Yeah.
the police called on you?
Oh, no. Fortunately not, no.
You know, the strategy that we have, I think we've made a lot of progress. The strategy that we have used is go through community leaders. It took us a long time to build that trust with the community leaders. I've been in meetings where we're explaining this live web program, and you know, one community leader will say, you know what, I want to go through it first before I'll bring people in to learn about
Is
your
that
program.
just their way of getting the free services? I mean, do they actually willingly submit all of their income tax information because that's required?
No,
Is
it's
that
a-
required of everybody?
Well, it is. If you want the services, whatever the service requires, they have to. Because,
And the
or
community
else-
leader says, no, no, I want to go through this
Yes,
first.
of course. And you know, we have a lot of patience. Of course, I spent another hour the next day spending time with this one particular community leader explaining.
Now, who is a community leader without mentioning their name or their title? Is it a political official? Is it
A
head of a
homeowner.
nonprofit? Or
These
who's a
are-
community leader?
I have a couple that I work with, one from the African community, one from the Pacific Island community, one from the Hispanic community.
Are these heads of nonprofit organizations?
No.
Heads of businesses? Or
No, these are just people
when you
who
talk
have
about community leaders.
what I mean is people that know people that the community trusts. We now have this thing that we do all the time now, is that we have house parties. And this started from one community leader who listened to our presentation and then gave us a call. Said, Violet, you know what? You and Damon can come to my house. I will invite my friends. I will invite my neighbors to come and listen to your presentation.
Really?
Yes.
And what are they getting out of it for that
Well,
generosity?
for her, she's been, you know, she volunteers for EHP, more than 30
Ecumenical
ecumenical
Hunger.
hunger program. She's there. She helps serve free meals to families on Tuesdays and Fridays. I also go there for lunch sometime if I'm in the area.
So how
I
many
think-
people do you serve? Over Oh, over a year.
Well, so like we reach through all our programs like a couple thousand through
A year?
A year. When you're talking about the PG&E program, the mine and home repair program, the LAWIT program, and then a couple.
When you
other
talk about reach, getting information to people,
no,
or
we actually do like work at their house or their apartment.
1,000 people?
Yeah. While at PG&E, our quota has to be a certain amount of houses per year for us to keep our contract with them.
That's a lot. 1,000 people a
Yeah.
year, just under
That's
the
not a lot
PG?
for them. They want more. They want more. But you gotta, with that program, there's apartment buildings that are into that.
Because I'm thinking it depends on the repairs. There how many days in a year? 300 and how many days? And you'd have to be doing what, at least 3 a day?
On good days, we do like 6 to 8 a day, and that'd
And
be
we're talking about what kind of
for the PG&E program, which would be more like weather stripping, light fixtures, LED bulbs, shower heads, wall repair, a natural gas appliance test, which is the LAWIP and PG&E does, which is a really good thing. Which we test every gas appliance after we seal up the house to make sure it's not emitting excessive amount of carbon monoxide and it's at a safe level. Because anything that burns fuel does give off carbon monoxide, but it's just certain levels that are.
How many people,
dangerous.
if you're already now serving 1,000 a year, how many, is there a maximum number of people you can serve?
For Actera's program, we don't really have the financial means to provide services like El Concilio does. Our whole goal in the community is to do energy, help families reduce their bill through energy efficiency, house calls. That's free to anybody. So whoever that calls us and needs these services, will be there to help them.
And let's talk more about what kind of services these are.
So this is more like an education service. Like I mentioned before, like I work with the homeowner, change behaviors. Because I work with families, the family of, 15 with a bill of 500 and something. Even though you can get
That's an electric bill?
Yeah,
$500?
this is $500. Some even more. I've seen $800. I've seen $1,000.
Oh wow!
With the note from PG that they're gonna cut off their.
Oh really?
Yes.
So a question for you, and keep the point because we want to. I want to continue that.
Okay.
It just occurred to me the house that had the 15 people that you were just talking about that had the leaky roof. Once you fix that roof,
Yes.
did you then go on to install solar?
That's the next step.
So you're going to do
yes,
that?
Yes.
Ah.
So most families that I work with, that's my end goal. I want this family to get the free solar. Grid Alternatives, our partner in the community, they have the capacity. They've already total installed 26 solar in East Palo Alto and 30 in Menlo Park, in Belhaven. This year, their goal is 15 families in East Palo Alto and 10 families in Menlo Park. So I go with the goal with our partners. So I help get 15 families for this year to get solar. And this particular family is definitely one of the families that I hope will receive solar through this program.
So I'm thinking now with Peninsula Clean Energy and people getting solar, that's going to reflect on their bills, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
reduce their
less
bill.
of a PG&E bill. And what does that mean for Peninsula Clean Energy?
Well, we love local solar because our whole goal is to do something good for the environment and to move to 100% renewable energy. And if it's in our county, that's great.
So how then does Peninsula Clean Energy get money to continue on?
Oh, well, through the bills. So even though our electricity costs less than the electricity you get from PG&E, that money that you send to us is what funds us. So we have no taxpayer money. We're a little government agency, but we're not funded by taxpayer money. We're just funded by the money you would have spent on
So
electricity
even
anyway,
though
you pay a
people
little
have
less.
solar and they're paying less,
Yeah,
that would be less money coming to Peninsula Clean Energy, right?
Sure, and that's
since
fine.
you're getting a percentage. But
Sure.
there's still salaries to pay.
Well, you know, the solar doesn't work at night. So keep that in mind. But, you know,
Is the energy stored, I'm thinking?
not yet, but that is a great question, Henrietta. And in fact, everyone is interested in energy storage. Yeah, and so that we actually have a grant call for proposals out right now for creative ideas. Anyone in the community can submit a grant idea to us, and they're due October 3rd.
But they have to be able to fulfill the grant idea, right?
Well, that's
Or
just
is
one
it
of our
just
programs.
is it just submitting an idea?
You submit an idea, submit a proposal, and storage
Oh.
might be one of them.
Oh,
Something creative to serve the
But
the
wait a moment.
community.
If I submitted an idea about storing sun energy,
Yeah.
would I have to write a proposal in terms of how I would go about doing it?
Yes. and
Oh,
that-
okay.
that
So
proposal-
that's not.
it is an idea with a
It's a
proposal.
project.
You know,
Yes,
I
yes.
read about that proposal and I thought, gee, I wish I could submit something. But,
Well, if you have a good idea, work with someone to write it
but
up.
you have to be a company
No, it's
that
actually
can fulfill the
It's
proposal.
actually anybody who's a company or an individual or a nonprofit or local governments can all apply. You do
But
have
they
to be
have-
able to do the work or
Yes,
partner with
that's-
somebody.
that's what I'm
Yeah,
thinking.
or partner with someone. Right.
Partner with
Partner-
Peninsula Clean Energy, right?
Or partner with
Can
any
you
of these
can you
wonderful
partner
folks.
with Peninsula Clean Energy in terms of fulfilling?
Ultimately, yes.
Well, when it comes to trust, how do you convince people? But you know, I want to go back to something. Actera, and you go to people's homes. Do you actually tell them what they can do to decrease their energy bill?
Yes.
Okay, give us some
Yes.
examples.
So some examples, I always prefer to work in the kitchen with the homeowner because I get to see, you know, the environment around the kitchen because.
But you're not actually helping them cook the food when you're working in
well,
the
some
kitchen.
of them are so kind that they always have something prepared, which is you know, which is a bonus. But in the kitchen, you know, it's very common. You sit there, and somehow these homes have a lot of outlets, and you
Yep.
see. I can count some kitchens. I can count 8 outlets, and you see one. The toaster is plugged in. The microwave is plugged in. The blender is plugged in. You know, we started off with that. We then, you know. So one thing is the vampire load.
Yeah,
you
the
know, people
vampire
think
loads.
that, you know, if you're not using, that means you're not pulling out any electricity, but that's not true. So, you know, one of the things we start unplugging is that if you start doing this, you actually see your usage going down. And then you check the furnace, you also check the heater, see what temperature they're at, especially the water heater. A lot of people, they always put it too high, which means that a lot of energy is used to keep that water hot. So, but you don't use it all the time. You only use it in the morning. So there are guidelines, you know, that we work with the homeowner to make these small changes. Then the light bulbs, and then the turning off of the light.
If
and
you have a
also
dishwasher,
dishwasher, the
use
time
your
of
dishwasher.
use. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
do
if-
you unplug the dishwasher?
No, it's
No,
better
not-
to use your dishwasher instead of washing by hand. Yeah,
Yes.
it's more energy efficient.
Yeah. So all those, you know, tips
Boil
that
your
we
water
provide.
in a microwave. Use natural light when possible.
A-
Wash
and-
your clothes
yeah.
in cold water.
And I think one obligation I always ask the homeowner, you know, before I leave the home, you know, we go through the bill, and then we look at their usage for that month. And I say, if you make these changes, can you track, you know, your next bill? Look at it. How much kilowatts have you used the following month?
So
And
let
that's
us
their
say
response.
I make tea. I boil the water in, I think it's a Keurig. Now, after I boil it, should I unplug it
Yeah. Yes.
and then plug
If
it
you're not
back
gonna-
in when I'm going to boil it again?
Yes.
So,
Because it has the vampire loads. Usually they have the time on there, and just that right there is drawing energy. Just
So-
to display
To
the
keep the-
time.
if I make tea once every 2 hours, plug it in only when I'm about to boil the water.
Or put it on a power strip, maybe.
Or a power strip, yes.
So you can just flip the power strip on or off.
If that's the only thing on it, on my power strip.
Yeah.
But
well,
the microwave, let's say you use the microwave only in the evenings. Do I unplug it during the day when I'm not
yes,
using it?
Yes.
yes, you unplug it.
Really? You don't keep the microwave plugged in, even though you use it every day?
No, you have to unplug because when it's plugged in, you see the timer comes on.
So
Is it
unplug everything
Thing.
and plug it in when you're using it,
Yeah.
and then unplug
Well,
it.
unless you have, like was mentioned, a surge protector or power strip, just unplug. You have them all plugged
The
in.
only
that,
thing
you-
is, these things all have clocks on them.
Yes.
Yes. and that's what's drawing
How
the
many
energy.
clocks do you need, Henrietta?
Well, I'm thinking if you unplug it, there are also batteries in it that will keep the time.
Oh,
Well, that's a good energy.
If you want to
Yeah.
take,
That's
if you want to
something
take
that-
baby step, unplug your microwave at night before you go to sleep. And if you want to put it back on the next day, but you know you're sleeping, you're not going to use it.
Oh, that's very, very interesting. Well, tell me if you have something like Alexa.
Oh, right.
Do you unplug Alexa?
Wait, you can't, right? Or
Yes, you can.
I don't know. I don't know.
don't
And
have
people
Alexa.
are
Yeah.
worried
I haven't
that
met
Alexa's
Alexa yet.
listening
well, yeah, then I would.
anyway.
I did hear a little story about. I guess a guy was having a bedside conversation with his wife, and
Yes.
his employee called him and said, "Hey, I can hear your conversation." And I guess they had an Alexa in the
Oh,
room.
that's just
Yes, and send out
Yeah.
some emails.
Yeah.
Oh, unplug the Alexa, definitely.
Oh, yeah. So.
Oh, so how can people contact? You were going to say something.
Oh, well, no, I was just saying, yeah, those are things that, people do not realize, but that they do, because everyone has their phone charging on every outlet or whatnot, but those are big things that people can do, is just unplug their outlets, try to use as much natural light as possible.
So
and
you
then-
know what I've heard, and you can tell me things might very well have changed, that it's plugging it back in and turning it on that's the big surge in energy. And it's better just to leave things, no,
No, I haven't heard of that. I mean,
no. Like
no.
for computers, for instance, they go to sleep.
Yeah, well,
And do you turn them off at nighttime and then turn them back on in the morning, or is it better?
so one of the things that we provide are these power strips. They're smart power strips, and basically they're surge protectors, and you connect it to the monitor of the computer or your TV monitor, and then it has outlets that are on that surge protector that you can plug whatever is being controlled by that monitor, whether it be your PC or your DVD player or whatnot. And once that monitor, the TV monitor is off or the computer monitor is off, it turns off all the other things that are connected on that strip. There are a couple other outlets on the strip that are like for, say, if you didn't want to unplug your cable box, because if you unplug your cable box, it has to reboot and
Well, I
and all
was
that,
also
so-
thinking about your wireless, that your computer is plugged into that provides your internet service.
Oh
Do
yeah,
you
that.
wanna unplug
No, you
that?
don't want to unplug that. But
Okay.
you would like to have it. You want it on a power strip. at
Yeah,
least.
on the power
On the
strip.
power
In,
strip.
in case the electricity goes out.
Yeah, it manages the amount of power that's.
So
electricity.
everything else you keep plugged in. For example, you keep your refrigerator plugged in.
Yes.
With the energy efficient refrigerator.
Yeah, an energy efficient
efficient
refrigerator.
Okay, what are all the other things you need to keep plugged in?
Well, your refrigerator, your stove. People do keep your washer, your dryer. Pretty much anything more to like that. Yeah, other than that, like your TVs, people are still gonna. We're all creature of a habit, so it's something that has to be changed for us to be more comfortable with it.
So if I use my television only once a week to look at my show,
Exactly.
I
Now
should
that's
unplug
good
it.
energy conservation, right?
Really?
Yeah. Well, you
unplug
wouldn't have
it?
to unplug it once you turn off the monitor. That power strip will turn it off for you.
Okay.
It'll turn everything
Oh,
off.
that's
and they actually,
yes,
they
and that's
actually have
what
a
you're
s-
saying. Plug
yeah.
as much as possible into a power strip,
Exactly.
and then just turn off the power strip.
Yeah, and the monitors, those power strips come with a little sensor beneath the monitor, or the TV monitor, and if it senses activity.
The only thing about it is, if you have everything plugged into the surge protector, like the television, the computers, and you want to turn the computer on, you don't want to turn the television on. So what you want to do is plug into the plug strip only the things that you want to turn on at the same time.
Exactly, and turn off at the same time.
So I wonder how many plug strips then.
It comes with 7.
Yeah, 7.
But all the 7 things that you might want to turn on at different times, you don't want to plug into that.
Oh no, so 7, there'll be like 4 that are just, or there's 7, right? But there's 2, there's one is the main source of control for these other 3.
Yes.
So that's and then there's the other 3 that are left over that are for whatever you want to be plugged in at, whatever. That's not going to be controlled by the monitor at all.
Yes,
so those will be turned off, but those other 3 outlets could be used whenever you want them. So, and they'll stay plugged in.
So on one plug strip, not everything will be turned on at the same time.
Exactly.
When you turn on the plug strip.
Exactly.
Oh,
So
that's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Other tips in the time that we have left?
clean your
Other
fridge,
things?
coils.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
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 How often?
Once a year. Once
Okay.
a year. If you're
And there are special brushes that
yeah,
you take out
and
the
then-
bottom.
Exactly, you can clean them out, or even if you have a nice little vacuum with the extension, you can use that.
So, in terms of cleaning the freezer, oh well, we bet, yeah, in terms of cleaning out the refrigerator or freezer, how many, does it matter?
As far as, what do you mean cleaning out the
To
coils?
save energy,
Uh,
defrosting the freezer.
defrosting probably once a year.
Okay.
But what's a good thing to do is if you have an empty fridge is to even they teach us to put like big, like would it be like plastic Tupperware things or boxes in there if you don't have, like a lot of folks may not have a lot of food, so they advise to put like boxes, Tupperware in there, so it'll keep the fridge from running its motor to keep that little bit amount of food cold.
Yeah.
So all the extra items will sustain the temperature.
Well, you have been very, very helpful in terms of giving us some very, very useful information about things we can do individually, and the work that your organizations are doing to help people and save money and provide services. And I'd really like to thank you
Thank you.
for sharing.
Thank you for
Thank you,
having us.
Henrietta.
Yes,
you.
and I would definitely like to thank our viewers for watching. Until next time.